Parents didn't invite me to family vacation. You're not a priority anymore, they said. I laughed and booked a better trip. Their faces turned pale when they saw where I. It's funny how life has a way of handing you the truth when you least expect it. There I was, standing in my kitchen, absent-mindedly scrolling through social media one evening, when I saw it. A photo, my entire family, laughing, clinking glasses at some beachside resort. My parents, my siblings, even their kids, all there. No call, no text, no. Hey, you wanna come? Nothing. At first, I thought maybe it was old. Maybe it was a memory popping up from years ago. But then I spotted the date stamped at the top, posted just 2 hours ago. Fresh. Live. Real. My heart sank faster than I could make sense of it. I grabbed my phone and called my mom, half expecting her to pick up, laugh, and tell me it was a mistake, that they were waiting for me, that my flight details must have gotten lost. But she didn't pick up. Neither did my dad. Neither did my brother, Adam, or my sister, Rachel. I sat there, the weight of realization pressing harder with every unanswered ring. And deep down, something I didn't want to admit started whispering inside my chest. They left you behind on purpose. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe they thought I was busy. Maybe they didn't want to bother me. Maybe. But even as I reached for excuses, a hollow feeling gnawed at me. And somewhere in the quiet of my apartment, I already knew the truth. The next morning, I tried to shake it off. Made coffee. Answered some work emails. Tried to pretend like maybe I hadn't just been cut out of my own family's life. But curiosity, no, not curiosity, hurt, got the better of me. I went back to that post. Started scrolling through the comments. Family friends chiming in. Looks amazing. Wish we were there. Where's Matt? Thought he'd be with you guys. That last one stopped me cold. Matt, that's me. Any answer Rachel had left under that comment? Oh, he's doing his own thing now. He's not really a priority anymore. Not a priority anymore. The words punched the air out of my lungs. My own sister, the girl whose college tuition I had partly paid when my parents couldn't. The one I picked up from parties at 2 in the morning because she was too scared to call anyone else. Not a priority anymore. I wasn't going to sit around and guess anymore. I called Adam. Straight to voicemail. I called Mom again. She answered after a few rings. Hey, sweetie, she said, voice bright, like she hadn't just abandoned her son. I didn't waste time. I saw the pictures, I said. My voice was low, steady. There was a pause. Long enough to confirm what I already knew. Oh, she said. Well, we didn't think you'd mind. You're busy with your own life. It's just easier this way. Easier, I repeated. You didn't even invite me. And that's when she said it. Lightly, casually, like she was discussing the weather. You're not a priority anymore, honey. Don't take it personally. I laughed. Right there on the phone. A hollow, disbelieving laugh. Right. Sure. Thanks for clearing that up. And I hung up. No yelling. No begging. No fighting for scraps of affection like I used to when I was a kid. Just a click. Silence. For a moment, I just stood there in the kitchen, the hum of the fridge filling the air, my hands slightly trembling. It hit me then, hard and clean. They didn't care. Maybe they never really had. And for once, instead of crumbling under the weight of it, I felt something else stirring inside of me, something sharper, colder. You want to show me I'm not a priority? Fine. I'd show them exactly what that meant. And this time, I wasn't going to just sit there waiting for their approval. This time, I was going to walk away, and let them watch exactly what they lost. I didn't sleep much that night. I lay there staring at the ceiling, the city lights bleeding through the blinds, replaying every birthday I'd paid for, every holiday I'd rearranged my schedule to attend, every emergency where I had dropped everything to be there for them. And for what? You're not a priority anymore. Those words echoed until they didn't sting anymore. Until they started sounding like something else entirely. A permission slip. If I wasn't a priority, then I didn't owe them my loyalty. I didn't owe them my time, my money, my heart. I could finally be free. By morning, I knew exactly what I was going to do. No anger. No confrontation. No messy posts calling them out. I was going to live. Louder. Brighter. Bigger than ever. I grabbed my laptop, opened a fresh browser tab, and typed 2 words into the search bar. Luxury vacations. At first, I wasn't sure where I'd go. Italy? The Maldives? Bora Bora? But then I saw it, a photo of a sparkling, private beach in Turks and Caicos. Water so clear it looked like glass, villas tucked into the cliffs, private yacht charters sailing past at sunset. Perfect. Exactly the kind of paradise they thought someone like me would never reach. Within 2 hours, I had booked the whole thing. Not just flights and a hotel room like a regular vacation. No. I went full throttle. First-class airfare with champagne service. A private villa with an infinity pool overlooking the ocean. Private yacht rentals for sunset cruises. Spa treatments booked every day. VIP excursions, snorkeling with dolphins, personal chefs, luxury car rentals. When I clicked confirm, I didn't even blink at the price tag. For once, I wasn't thinking about saving money to help someone else. I was spending it on me. And to top it all off, I made sure every single reservation came with digital media packages, personal photographers, drone videos, even a social media manager who specialized in vacation envy content. Petty? Maybe. But after years of being treated like a second-class citizen in my own family, I felt no guilt. This wasn't revenge in the form of anger. This was revenge in the form of unbothered, unstoppable joy. By the time my plane ticket confirmation hit my inbox, my hand was steady, my heart was light. I wasn't going to tell them. I didn't need to. They would see it soon enough. And they would feel the weight of what they lost, not because I forced it on them, but because they had chosen it themselves. The day of the trip came faster than I expected. I stood at the airport terminal, ticket in hand, first class stamped in bold letters at the top, and for the first time in a long time, I felt weightless. No obligations. No guilt hanging off my shoulders like wet clothes. Just me, stepping into a life I had put off for far too long. When I boarded the plane, the flight attendant greeted me by name, offered me champagne before I even sat down. Around me, the soft hum of wealth buzzed in the air. Designer luggage, expensive watches, people flipping casually through leather-bound travel journals. I wasn't out of place here. Not anymore. I belong. The flight itself felt like a dream. Warm towels, gourmet meals, a seat that turned into a bed, the kind of small luxuries that whispered, "You were never meant to settle." By the time I landed in Turks and Caicos, the sun was just beginning to set. The sky was painted in strokes of pink, orange, and violet, reflecting off the glassy sea. Waiting for me at the airport was a private driver, holding a sign with my name on it. He opened the door to a sleek black SUV, the leather seats cool against the heat of the island air. We pulled up to the villa, and God, it was even better than the pictures. A modern palace perched on a cliff, with sweeping glass windows overlooking the endless blue horizon. My own infinity pool. My own beach access. My own slice of heaven. I barely had time to settle in before the photographer arrived. A woman named Camille, tanned, sunglasses perched on her head, camera slung casually over her shoulder. "Ready to make everyone back home jealous?" she said with a grin. I laughed, genuinely laughed, and said, "Absolutely." That evening, as I stood barefoot at the edge of the pool, drink in hand, ocean breeze ruffling my shirt, Camille captured it all. The sunset behind me. The way the light danced off the water. The peace written all over my face. She edited and posted the first set of pictures that night, high-end, stunning, magazine-worthy shots with captions like, "Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to walk away and find your paradise. Prioritize yourself. No one else will." And yes, I made sure my privacy settings were wide open. Everyone could see it. My friends. My coworkers. And most importantly, my entire family. Within hours, the notifications started. Likes. Comments. Private messages. I could imagine them, sitting wherever they were, probably crammed into some average hotel with noisy neighbors and bad buffet food, scrolling through their phones, seeing me living a life they never thought I could have. It wasn't about rubbing it in. It was about showing them that I was fine without them. Thriving, even. And that was the sweetest kind of peace I had ever tasted. It didn't take long for the first ripple to reach me. The morning after Camille posted the photos, I woke up to a flood of messages. At first, it was just harmless curiosity. Old friends commenting things like, "Whoa, living the dream. Dang, Matt, when did you become a superstar? Man, you earned this. Good for you." But then came the private messages. The first one was from my cousin Taylor, the same one who used to side-eye me at family dinners like I was some charity case. "Dude, where are you? Your pictures are insane. Mom said your parents are freaking out, lol." Freaking out. The words made me chuckle into my coffee. Not long after, I noticed the first call from my mom. Ignored it. A few minutes later, a call from Rachel. Ignored. By noon, my voicemail inbox was full. Pleasant at first. "Hey, call us back, sweetie." Then guilty. "We're family, you know. Don't be so distant." Finally, desperate. "Please, we need to talk." And I knew exactly what was happening. They hadn't expected me to move on without them. They hadn't expected me to thrive without them. They thought cutting me out would make me come crawling back, desperate for scraps of attention. Instead, they were watching me live a life that didn't just match theirs, it dwarfed it. And they couldn't handle it. Later that day, I got a text from my dad, short, stiff, completely out of character. "We want to invite you to the next family gathering. Maybe it's time we reconnect." As if I hadn't just spent the last week being publicly erased from their lives. As if one generic invite would somehow patch over a lifetime of neglect. I sat there, lounging on a sunbed overlooking the ocean, sipping fresh mango juice, letting their message hang there in my notifications. No anger. No sadness. Just a kind of quiet realization. They only value you when they think you're valuable to others. I didn't reply. I didn't even open the messages. I simply slid my phone into the side table drawer, turned the volume off, and headed for my next excursion, a private yacht cruise at sunset. That evening, as I stood at the bow of the yacht, the sky bleeding gold and crimson, a soft breeze tugging at my hair, I realized something that stunned me. I didn't miss them. Not even a little bit. The days blurred into a string of perfect moments. Morning swims in my private pool, where the world was silent except for the soft splash of water and the rustle of palm leaves. Afternoons spent exploring hidden beaches, riding ATVs across powdery dunes, eating seafood so fresh it melted on my tongue. Evenings wrapped in the glow of candlelit dinners by the shore, the sound of waves whispering against the sand. And meanwhile, back home, my family's panic grew louder. They didn't know where I was exactly, just that I was somewhere expensive, somewhere beautiful, somewhere unreachable. The messages became longer. More desperate. A voicemail from my mom. "Matt, we were wrong, okay? We should have invited you. We were just caught up. Please come home when you can. We miss you." Another from Rachel. "You're being so dramatic. We didn't mean it like that. You know you're still family." Still family. Like family was a rope they could yank whenever they needed something. And then, the final straw. A group text from my dad to me, Rachel, and Adam. No greetings. No apologies. Just one sentence. "If you think some fancy vacation makes you better than us, you're wrong." I stared at that text for a long time, the yacht rocking gently beneath my feet. And I realized they hadn't changed at all. They didn't regret what they did. They regretted that they had lost control. And that's when I made the final decision. No second chances. No long conversations. No dramatic family interventions. I was walking away. Not with anger. Not with revenge. But with peace. I picked up my phone one last time. Blocked my mom's number. Blocked my dad's. Blocked Rachel's. Adam's. Every contact that tied me back to that version of my life. One by one, like cutting loose heavy anchors from a ship. Until finally, silence. It didn't hurt. It didn't feel like a loss. It felt like finally standing up from a table where love had always been conditional, transactional, earned only by sacrificing myself. And this time, I chose myself. After I blocked them, the world went eerily quiet. Not the kind of quiet that feels lonely. The kind that feels clean, like stepping out into crisp air after a thunderstorm, everything rinsed and new. Without the constant buzzing of their demands, their guilt trips, their manipulations, my mind finally had room to breathe. And something surprising happened. I started meeting people. Real people. It started small. Camille, the photographer, invited me to a little gathering one evening, a bonfire on the beach with a handful of locals and travelers. I almost said no. Old habits die hard. Part of me still thought, they don't want you there. But something in me, the part that was tired of living small, said go. So I went. And that night, under a velvet black sky littered with stars, barefoot in the sand, laughing with strangers who felt more like family than anyone I had grown up with, something cracked open inside me. I realized that belonging wasn't about blood. It wasn't about history. It was about showing up for each other. Listening. Laughing. Sharing space with people who didn't keep a running tally of what you owed them. There was Sophia, a travel writer who'd been everywhere twice but still treated every sunset like a miracle. There was Marcus, a quiet, easygoing guy who ran boat tours and could talk for hours about the ocean like it was an old friend. There was Lee, a local artist with wild curls and paint-stained hands, who hugged me after 5 minutes of conversation like we'd known each other forever. No one asked what I could do for them. No one expected anything but me. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't Matt, the dependable one, or Matt, the second-class sibling. I was just Matt. Laughing around a bonfire. Sharing stories. Belonging. Without having to beg for it. As the days stretched on, something strange and beautiful happened. I stopped looking at my phone entirely. There was no need to. No one was waiting to pull me back into the mess I had left behind. No one to guilt me, to shame me, to weigh me down. Instead, I found myself waking up early, not because of stress or obligation, but because I didn't want to miss the sunrise. I found myself laughing harder. Breathing deeper. I found myself wanting things again, small things, big things, dreams I hadn't dared to think about in years because I'd been so busy playing catch-up in a race I was never meant to win. One night, sitting around that bonfire again with my new friends, Marcus said something that stuck with me. He was talking about how he had left his old life behind, a corporate job, a city apartment, a life that looked good on paper but felt like nothing inside. He said, "Sometimes you don't realize how heavy the load was until you finally set it down." And God, wasn't that the truth? I thought about all the years I'd spent chasing their approval. All the times I'd bent myself backwards trying to be enough for people who had already decided I wasn't. I thought about the money, the missed birthdays, the cancelled vacations, the nights I stayed up worrying about their problems, trying to solve them like it was my duty. And for what? So they could tell me I wasn't a priority? No. I wasn't carrying that weight anymore. Not for them. Not for anyone who didn't see me, really see me. The family I thought I had? They were never really my family. Family isn't supposed to be the people who make you feel like a burden. Family is supposed to be the people who say, "I'm glad you're here," with no strings attached. And sitting there, surrounded by people who barely knew me but still treated me with more kindness than my own blood ever had, I realized. I had finally found mine. Not in shared DNA. Not in old traditions. But here, among the waves and stars and strangers who welcomed me just because I showed up as myself. And that was worth more than any approval, any apology, any half-hearted invite they could ever send. When my trip ended, it wasn't with sadness. It felt like closing the final page of a chapter that had already ended long ago, one I just hadn't had the courage to finish until now. I boarded my first-class flight home, head high, heart calm, carrying no guilt, no regret. Only peace. I returned to my apartment, the same walls, the same furniture, but somehow, everything looked different now. Brighter. Lighter. I unpacked slowly. Hung a framed photo of the sunset over my villa above my bed, a reminder that paradise wasn't a place. It was a decision. And then I started quietly rebuilding my life. I threw a small housewarming party, not for moving, but for becoming. I invited only the people who had stayed loyal when I had nothing to offer. Old college friends who always checked in, even when life got messy. A few coworkers who had become more like siblings than the real ones ever had. Even a few new faces from my trip, Camille, Marcus, Lee, who happened to be passing through town. We drank, we laughed, we filled my little apartment with a kind of warmth I hadn't realized I'd been starving for. No forced smiles. No backhanded comments. No pretending. Just people who were genuinely happy to see me happy. And somewhere between the laughter and the music, I realized something simple but life-altering. Sometimes the best revenge isn't making them suffer. It's making yourself so untouchably happy that they can't touch you anymore. It's showing them, without a single word, that you never needed them to thrive. It's choosing to live so well that their betrayal becomes irrelevant. I didn't need apologies. I didn't need closure. I didn't even need answers. I had everything I needed. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. I was looking forward, wide open, fearless. And I knew, deep in my bones, I was never going back.